Hey everybody, welcome to the Sanctus Forum. I am Michael Stewart Robb, better known as Mike, and today we've got some books, new books. Previously on this channel I've done a series
Hello.
called...
Excuse me.
Hang on. Oh, it's Elizabeth Neep.
Hello.
There she is. Well, I was just saying, I was talking about form books, and
Yes.
Elizabeth Neep is the, what a surprise. She's the editor for these books, and why don't you can do this so much better than me. Hang on, I gotta set this up here a little better. Dictionaries, they make excellent
my word, you've got a lot of books.
props.
I see you now.
There we go. Okay. It's Advent here. It's Advent in London as well, isn't it? I don't have a place to put my decorations. But
yeah, all the Christmas decorations are up across London. It's like Christmas is thrown up across the city.
yeah, we had to take a lot of ours down because they closed all of the Christmas markets in Bavaria because our COVID numbers are too high. So they closed them all.
Oh.
Yeah. Elizabeth, you're an editor. I'm a writer, and one of the strange things that people don't know about kind of editors and writers is writers don't get to title books usually. Editors like to title books. So I've kind of got a few titles for books I'd like to run past you. I want to see what you think of them, okay?
Okay.
The first one here is, I'll read it, a stratigraphical list of British fossils arranged under the principal divisions of the British strata, with a few elementary remarks on their character and localities.
Ooh.
What do you think of that title?
Well, it's not very snappy. Probably titles are all about hooking in your market, so probably the specificity of that and the nicheness will absolutely hit its market.
Okay,
it does what it says on the tin.
So where to go? You like that one. Okay, well, I've got another one. A pastoral letter from a minister to his parishioners, beginning an earnest exhortation to them to take care of their souls, and a preparative in order to render all future methods of instruction more effectual to their education.
I mean, again, it's very long. We love in publishing a very short, snappy title with a subtitle that kind of tells you what the book does. I would try and cut that down a little bit. Okay.
Well, maybe here I'm thinking of a series. Now, these ones are snappy titles. Two books. One is A Caution Against Drunkenness. And then, kind of as a follow-up, A Rebuke to Uncleanness.
Ooh. Yeah, well, we would say probably at SPCK, which is the publishing house I work at, is that would only appeal to a certain type of person. But if you can often offer the promise of something positive, even if it is a caution against drunkenness, it's more kind of the positive spin of a sober life. And often we go with kind of the positive spin because we find that a lot of the readers who don't have to read books and are just reading them for their pleasure and spiritual development often need that kind of air of encouragement around them.
Okay. Well, that was a very diplomatic answer. I'll tell you how I found these titles. These are titles that SPCK has published in the past.
Oh.
So possibly as a part of your backlist, you could revive some of those. Maybe
that is a great idea. Yeah, SPCK has been around since 1698. So I can't believe what kind of things we've got on our backlist. Good and slightly eyebrow raising.
Yeah. Well, now you've got on your list, not on your backlist, some books here on form, and I don't have them all. I probably don't intend on collecting them all, but I've got three here that are really, I'm just going to show them to the camera here because they're really beautifully done. This one here, More Change by Sarah Yardley is kind of a part of a series. And then I've got this one here, Dancing at the Still Point by Gemma or Gemma? Gemma Simmons. And then I've got two. Now you can show me here the better versions. These are my versions of Ruth Haley Barton's Invitation to Silence and Solitude and Dallas Willard's Renovation of the Heart. But you've got new ones.
Yeah, I do. They're not so much better, just different for a slightly different market. But this is Renovation of the Heart, and it was very important to the Dallas Willard Institute to keep the flag, the white flag icon on there. So we've got lovely silver there, and the flag goes onto the back as well. So that kind of icon of what Dallas Willard's Renovation of the Heart, the kind of iconic cover, we wanted to keep some of that. It's a special 20th anniversary edition of the book, and it's got a foreword by John Mark Comer in it, and an afterward by Natasha Robinson, so very special book. And then Invitation to Solitude and Silence by Ruth Haley Barton.
Yeah.
Again, just lighter and brighter.
Yeah, I prefer your versions. Mine are pretty heavy and dark, which perhaps when they were published 20 years ago was great, but I like what you've come up with.
Probably very in fashion at the time.
It reminds me, too, you held up the Renovation of the Heart. We came up with this plan with SPCK and Forum to try to give away some of these books. And so you've got 5 books that we're going to send out to people in the UK, EU. And what you'd have to do is to go on to the Sanctus Instagram and follow us there, sign up for our newsletter at sanctus.institute, and then on a specific post, you have to make a comment and tag 5 of your friends. And I think 5 friends who perhaps could use Renovation of the Heart by Dallas Willard would be a good way to go. But you can, well, I don't know, just don't tag random people. But and then we've got 5 books. If there's more than 5 people, then we'll just have to do a kind of lottery system. But obviously we can't ship them around the world, but we'll just stick to Europe. And yeah. So anyway, the post, if I didn't say it, will appear on screen right now. And so that's the one to go for. Make a comment. 5 people who you think that would be a good book for. But you've got a whole stack there. There's not just these 5 books. There's a bunch of them, right? Yeah,
I can wave some of them around.
Hold up your stack there of
my stack. This isn't all of them. We have got it's a growing list.
Yeah,
there's a real range there. Someone pointed out to me lately that Form has a lot of white books on the list. So lots, as we were saying, your 2 black books there. We've got lots of kind of bright, light books. So I don't know whether it's a trend towards kind of minimalism and lightness and brightness, but we certainly wanted the books on the list to feel invitational, exciting to read, that they would kind of offer more joy and hope in your life, as we absolutely believe Jesus does. So I think obviously we've got John Mark Comer books the trend, full of colour, but I think I'll be mindful to commission some more colourful covers.
Yeah, well, you do have very lovely designed books, but obviously you didn't set out to just create pretty books. So what kinds of books does Form represent?
Yeah, absolutely. So in its broader sense, Form's kind of tagline, its mantra is spiritual formation books for everyday life. And that might seem a bit kind of all-encompassing, and in many ways it is, but we wanted with Form to bring spiritual formation back into kind of mainstream Christianity. It sounds a bit strange to do that because obviously discipleship, following Jesus, becoming more like him is mainstream Christianity. But we found from sitting down with pastors and church members that there was almost a bit of a a feeling of intimidation around the word spiritual formation, that maybe people were doing it but not quite getting it right, or not quite engaging in the practices enough. And there was an element of even kind of regular scripture reading being something people felt a bit bad about, oh, I'm not very good at reading my Bible. I don't manage to read it every day. An element of kind of guilt and obligation around the practices of spiritual formation and the processes of spiritual formation. But Form very much wanted to publish books that would help you realize that you're not missing anything, that this is something that we're all engaged with. We're all following Jesus, and that actually a lot of our becoming like him is a surrendering to doing the things he did and engaging with people in the ways he engaged. But that's why a lot of the books on the list are short. Lots of them are practical. They're all designed to kind of go with you wherever you go. The spiritual formation isn't something that you just switch on and kind of when you can light a candle and be in a church, a kind of sacred space, but that actually the everyday with Jesus can be sacred. Our tube journeys to work can become a sacred space when we kind of engage with Christ and do the things that he did.
Yeah. Well, that's really a really exciting vision. I really hope that you can put out some books that really do help people in that direction. If you had to describe the effect that you would like Form's books to have on people in one word, what word comes to mind?
The word that comes to mind is focus. And I think it's because I do not want to publish books that distract people from Jesus. Like, I don't want to kind of play into that, I read 12 Christian books a year, but I actually don't open my Bible. Like, these books should be ancillary to doing the main thing, which is spending time in God's word and spending time with God. So these books, I don't want to be a distraction to people's relationship with Christ. Because I think sometimes we can do that. We can get very busy reading, I've read all the bestsellers this year and I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly absorbing. But actually, if we're just reading about the spiritual practices and not actually doing them, then we're missing something there. So I think what I would like is for these books to give people focus on the main thing, which is spending time with Jesus.
That's a good one. Actually, I was in Cambridge a couple weeks ago, and I walked over to the Christian spirituality section and actually saw a bunch of the Form books in the bookstore there. Now, I think for me, it's always a good exercise to think about how this stuff that we do in church makes sense to people who don't ever come or only peripherally aware of what we do in church. If I'm a church person, you're a church person, but not everybody is. Now, here's the question. If you had to describe Form books to someone outside the church, and without using church language, and you can't say Christian spirituality, give it a go. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say that they are like and not the same as, but if you were to take your mind to all of the stuff on mind, body, spirit, of which there's absolutely loads of spirituality books in the general market, these are books that would occupy the same space, but with the authority of looking at the person of Jesus and what he did and why his life was so impactful. And that's probably how I'd say it, because I think a lot of my friends who don't know Jesus are reading these spirituality books. They're really, really mainstream, but actually it's quite an untethered spirituality. It's, it's kind of knowing that the universe has got your back and that everything happens for a reason. But I think Form books provide a really practical answer to why we do some of the things we do, why solitude and silence actually feels so great and is so good for us, and provides an answer for that, really. Because I think a lot of the quote unquote world, kind of secular culture, is getting with the program of the fact that a lot of the spiritual disciplines actually feel really good and are really good for us. That discipline isn't a dirty word. It actually a wonderful thing to bring into your life. But I think what they're missing is a reason why. It's, and we're very aware at Form that we don't want these books to be all about self, but actually turn people back out to the person of Jesus. Because I think with the hunger for some of these practices in the general market, it would be very easy to make this a well-being brand. So that's a long-winded way of answering your question. But I'd say it's like these books, but it's different because it's looking to the person of Jesus and the power and authority that he has had both when he was here on earth and throughout history since.
Yeah. I like that, and I think it does fit with a general cultural problem that we in Europe have with Jesus, is that we do tend to forget that he had something to say about mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth, and I wish you all the best authors and experts in the world. I hope they all want to come and write for Form, and that you find as many readers as possible and can really meet that vision of helping people.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure to chat to you and hear a bit more about your amazing community that you're building here. So yeah, the pleasure's all mine.
Great. Well, that's it for us. Go ahead and if you actually like this video in your heart and mind, push like with your finger there, and subscribe if you like the sort of things we're doing here. Even better than that, head over to Sanctus Institute for a place to sign up for our almost monthly newsletter. And finally, there's that giveaway of 5 Renovation of the Heart books, brand spanking new, and you'll need to sign up for that newsletter and go on to Instagram, follow us there, and on this specific post, there it is again, tag 5 of your friends who you'd like to read this book. So, see you then. Bye. I think we should manage that, just barely keeping your job.